Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday. Get up, get up, get up. Let's get going. Good morning, and good morning again. Thank you all for tuning in. And those of you who consistently share, please continue to do that. We appreciate you. We want to make sure that we don't just stop right here, that we're actually spreading the message, the word that we have each and every morning. So good morning, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah. Hey, Lynn. Good morning, love. Like and share. Remember, like and share. Thank you, thank you. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Alina. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for tuning in. Like and share. Tag a friend. How are you? How are you? I miss you, Alina. I hope everything is going well. It's school is about to get back started, getting those babies ready. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for being on. Hey, Sherry, good morning this morning. Good morning. I hope you're up, ready to get this day started because y'all see I'm excited. For those of you who are on the God Zone this morning, we had a treat from D. Amos this morning. It blessed my soul as I just laid there listening about who he is, whose team I'm on, who I'm rolling with. I know who I'm rolling with. Good morning. Good morning, Frankie. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being on. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, everybody. Yes, y'all, we're talking about being vulnerable. I know you're probably looking like, why does she have pictures of really pretty garbage cans? Because we're about to talk about that thing in a second. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Tag, 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 and share, tag, and share, tag, and share. We love the love. So before we get started, I want to make sure that you all know that every morning that we come on live, these messages are also taken over to our the Freedom by Design movement on YouTube. So if you have people and you want to share the movement with them and they're like, I'm not on Facebook, it's okay because we're also on YouTube, so they can subscribe. They will get alerts when the new messages come on. And again, that's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sonia Brown Hood. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Dominique. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you all for being on. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you see, our topic this morning is vulnerable. Now, for some of us, when we hear that word vulnerable, it kind of makes us cringe because it feels like, oh my goodness, I'm being exposed. People are going to know things about me, or I won't be protected. I'm going to be in a state where I don't know what's going to happen, a state of uncertainty. And for some of us, it makes us very uncomfortable. But I looked up the definition this morning as, we were preparing for our talk, and it says define is the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of harm or attack. So yeah, that word does kind of provoke some anxiety in us. And it's like, ooh, as I know when I pray and God kind of delivers or drops something in my spirit, and it's something that causes me to have to be more vulnerable than I am, it makes me like, oh, I'm nervous because I start thinking just for a second, what are people going to think? I'm not thinking about what he's asked me to do. For that split second, I start thinking about people. And, I know, again, it's an uncertain kind of situation, but it allows us to have a greater connection with God and others. So when I think about it from that perspective, I'm able to kind of take a deep breath and let my guard down. And this morning, as I was thinking, I reflected on the message on Monday, which talked about us being able to process the pain, being able to birth his promise, I should say. And I thought about it. When we come into this world, we are the most vulnerable as babies. We're super vulnerable. But even more so, I thought about the mother in that state, when you're on that table, when you're in that room with all these people around and you're fully exposed and you're vulnerable because you are in their hands, for lack of better words. There is no privacy in that time. Everybody is there and everything is all open. And I thought about that as I was, wrapping my head around this conversation. And I said, many people also equate vulnerability with being weak, but it's not that we're weak. Yes, emotionally, we might experience some pain, but emotional pain and physical pain, very different. Emotional pain strengthens us. We are able to learn. As a matter of fact, that's when we learn our most valuable lessons, you know, and our skills are developed, because we don't learn what we need to learn at the mountaintops. We learn that thing in the valley when we're at those lows, when it's time. So this morning, my scripture of reference was Proverbs 28:13, and it says, whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. So guys, this morning, you know, a lot of us try to conceal stuff. That's why you see the garbage cans there. We try to conceal it. But what ends up happening is those wounds get infected because we don't treat them. We try to cover them up, and it gets worse and worse. But in order for us to truly experience God, we have to let down our walls. We do have to be vulnerable. And for us to be the example we need to be for other people, we have to completely surrender to Him. So this morning, the young lady that is with us this morning on Freedom by Design, she is no stranger because she's a part of the movement. She's always here. But I want her to be able to tell her story because it's a powerful story. In February, we had a event that we hosted, and the theme and topic was self-love. And she spoke from the perspective of being vulnerable. Now, I think after that talk, our relationship got even closer and stronger because we shared a lot of things. But Freedom by Design, I want you to help me welcome my friend, my sister, Santrell Green. Santrell, are you there?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine.
Great.
And thank you for being here. Santrell, as you see this morning, I got my garbage cans up. We're decorated. We're ready to rock and roll because we have some things that we want to share this morning.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. Can you give everybody just a little background about, you know, who you are and what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis?
What I do on a day-to-day basis is really help people get unstuck. That's the simplest way I can start it, through coaching, through speaking. I'm actually in the process of finalizing a course to help people as far as branding and putting together their purpose, walking in that, because when we talk about vulnerability, it screams out to me because for so long I was not able to be vulnerable because, like you said, I thought it was a place of weakness. But in that weakness was my strength. I am stronger now than I have ever been before, because when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, Katrina, you get tired of yourself, you have just got to lay everything on the line. And it's not as though God doesn't see us. He knows. He's just waiting for us to come to the truth, to have that truthful conversation with ourselves and with Him, so that He can begin to do the work and to help us deal with those things that have gotten in the way.
I love it. I love it. You know, Santrell, I think back to February, and of course, everybody here doesn't know just yet. But when you came to the house, you came and you brought this.
Yes.
This decorated garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
You know, the best way that I can describe where I was and where I know a lot of people are is I was dressed up on the outside. You know, you put your heels on, you put your dress on, you put whatever it is, and you look fantastic on the outside. But on the inside, you are this dressed up garbage can. And we know that a garbage can is to hold refuse, it's to hold trash, right? And so I was unable to empty out that trash. It was the trash that was chasing me, haunting me all of my life and telling me I was not enough. I couldn't do this or that. And the funny thing, Katrina, is this: in that coaching position, we are the facilitators of other people finding their own strengths, among other things, right? But I was able to help other people do that, but was unable to help myself. So I said I was a dressed up garbage can. I looked great on the outside, but the refuse, the trash that was on the inside, I couldn't get it out. It just kept piling and piling and piling and piling. Even when it was overflowing, I still couldn't get to the bottom of it and empty it out. And there are so many people like that right now that I want to be able to help them do that.
I totally understand that, Santrell, because when I saw that, it touched something in me, because that day we used that acronym LOVE. So we had living off the leftovers, overwhelmed, vulnerability, and exhale. And, you know, it was so surreal to see the faces of the women in the room, because everybody resonated with that dressed up garbage can because, and you know, it's either we're dressing up and we're a garbage can or we're wearing masks or a combination of both. And it's like, I feel like I'm stuck. Like I have to pretend, I have to make it look good on the outside because if people saw what was on the inside, they might not accept me. What are your thoughts about that?
You know what? That's exactly right. And, you know, I look at, and I'm sure you were the same way. I was strong from the time I got here is what I say, you know, that was just a part of who I was. And you become stronger for everybody else, but you get to where you cannot become strong for yourself. You can't be there. Right. And you get to a place where enough is enough because it's very painful to be in that place. It is a pain that you cannot describe to other people when you can be everything for somebody else, but you can't be everything for yourself. And after a while, the weight of it becomes too much. It became too much for me. And I said, you know what, God, enough. Here is where I am. Now I need you to do something with it. I need you to fix this mess that is up in here. And it's not that I, you know, and I would tell people, it's not that we're terrible people or anything like that. But, you know, we walk around being the wounded. We are the walking wounded. And so many of us are, and we don't have to be. We don't have to be. It's time to let it go. Be tired of your stuff. It's time to get rid of it because you are not living the full life that you need to live. I know I wasn't, and I know that there are so many people, men and women, who are in the same place and they need to be free.
When you talk about being free, you know, it's when you said it, it made me like, have to just exhale because, you know, that after that talk, and it was a great talk because I see Yolanda here and she was like, it had her in tears. So many people were in tears after that event. And it was interesting. We did it in February because February should have been Valentine's Day and everybody happy and all feeling bubbly. But what we found when you could feel that in the room, it was anything but. Again, it was people being dressed up. And during that time, that was when I know myself, I had a lot of stuff going on. I was being pulled in a lot of different directions. And, you know, fast forwarding, you and I had some conversation as I was in the process of writing the book Exposed, and there were some things that it was some garbage that I was still carrying. It was some stuff that was deep down that I wasn't able to empty it out, and it just bothered me, and we talked about it, we prayed about it. And the amazing thing is it had to do, you know, with my mom. And those of you who will purchase the book, you'll understand and you'll get to hear my story. And of course, I know that'll be everybody. So I'm excited about that.
Yes.
But, you know, my mom and our relationship was challenged at a certain point in my life. And now it's better than it has ever been. But there still was that thing, Santrell. It was like a little thorn that was just sticking me. And as a result of one of our, I won't say a meeting, one of our events, it was like 3 days after you and I spoke, my mom called me and we had a conversation, and you and I had just talked before, and you were like, it's going to come and it was just like freeing. It was just the release, being able to say, you know, I love you and I forgive you, and her apologizing and being able to have the point of, I guess, reflection and perspective. It's a different thing. And some of us, you know, are still walking around and we're mad at people for years, people moving on with their lives, but we're carrying that crap. I gotta say, we're just carrying it. We're packing it up, and it's like, dog, why I got so much stuff? Because you won't let nothing go away. You're carrying the crap. You have to be vulnerable. You have to open yourself up enough to say, hey, this is what's going on with me. Yes. This is what's going on. Lord, I completely surrender. And however you want this to work out, I'm okay with it working out in that way. Use me. What are your thoughts, Santrell?
Oh my God, you said a mouthful, because you and I talked about this before. I'm one of those people, I like my details. I like to know what's going on. Once I know what they are, I'm okay. I can keep it moving. But that's a form of control, because with God, you're not going to know everything that he's going to do. You're not going to know how he's going to do it. You just have to trust him. And I will be the first to say that this God that everybody said I should trust, I was nowhere there with him. Because, you know, when things happen to you, you feel like, oh, this happened, I trusted over here, I trusted over there, and it didn't work out. So, I couldn't trust my own creator. But when you do, when you just lay it all out, you can stop carrying that trash. You see, because God is a God of restoration. He will restore all of that. I started, Katrina, looking back at the generations of women in my family. I never had a chance to know my mom's mom because she passed away very early. But I remember my grandfather saying that I was like her, the strong one. She was the one who took care of her brothers and sisters and things like that. So I was familiar with that. That spirit was there. But I also said, what has been going on with the women in my family, not in a judgmental sort of way, but the fact that it's got to stop. And he is the one, he will reach back. When we talked about our mothers, we talked about in the vein that he will reach back to that generation. He will reach forward. Even if you don't have a daughter, I know that you have nieces. For my daughter, I said, she will never be one who questions who she is, who questions the love that's in her, the one who loves her. So you got to just give into him, because he is the creator of all of us. He knows exactly what he's put into you. One of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 29:11, but I like Jeremiah 29:10. Because when you talk about the children of Israel, he was talking to them about, hey, after this exile in Babylon, for 70 years, dude, 70 years, are you kidding me? He said, I will come for you. I will come to see you. I will perform my good plan for you, right? So when he says he will, it is inevitable. So what I want to share with your audience is that it is not too late. This is the best time of my life. It is not too late for any of you. I promise you, if you give yourself to him, it may be a little bit hard sometimes because you are coming face to face with you, but trust him because he will hold you through everything. It is not too late for you. He loves you.
I love it. I love it. You know what, Central? I was thinking that day that you told your story and you spoke to the ladies, your mom had not heard you speak about that before.
No, no,
And
she
it
had
was
not.
live on Facebook.
Ooh, yes. And the thing is I didn't know that it was live on Facebook. And my mom and I, like you said, your relationship with your mom has been restored. The relationship with my mom is restored. I love her. I call her dear lady because she is very dear to my heart. I love her so. And so when I found that out, she called me a few days later and said, I saw your Facebook. I saw you. And Katrina, I tell you, my heart sank because I said, oh my God, I hope she knows that nothing was meant to harm. It was about love. It's about letting people know what God can do for them. If he did it for me, he will do it for you. And she said, maybe sometimes we can talk about it. And I said to her, I said, you understand that I don't hold you accountable. As I've said to you before, I don't hold you accountable for anything. I love you. I understand. And she said, no, it's okay. I understood what you were saying. Maybe this can help me understand me. So you see how good God is? It's not just about restoring me. It's about restoring my mom, because in her almost 72 years, she deserves that restoration. Your mom deserved that restoration. Other people's mom, they deserve that restoration. He is so good to us that he will look back and forward for us.
Amen. You know, that
Mhm.
thing touched me so deep because when you talked about that, I was like, oh no, we went, you know, people were live and it was so touching because your testimony was so relatable. And like Yolanda said earlier on the comments, there, you know, there was not a dry eye. Everybody was sitting, you could see people like on the edge of their seats, and it was like, oh my goodness. And who knew, you know, who would know that from that conversation, so many people would be healed, so many relationships would be repaired. Because again, even me and my mom we were good, but it was still that little thing. And being
Yeah.
able to have that transparent conversation, it opened the door, or it took the lid off the garbage can where now fully, I don't have to, pretend that something is, it's not bothering me. If it does, we can talk about it. We can have the
Yes.
conversation. And I know that was a part of my journey and him actually exposing me, which, Central, it made me think about the process of writing the book, because there was a level of vulnerability, because I'm like, okay, God, what you want me to write about? I can write about anything. I'll research it and I'll write about it. And he said, you got to write about you. And I was like, well, hold up. You want me to write about the professional part of me? Because I can do that. What you want, a how-to book on how to build relationships and teams? I'm good. I can do that. And he was like, no, you're going to write, as a matter of fact, 3 books. And the first book is going to be called Exposed. And I'm like, oh, you want me to expose people? Okay, no. I'm talking about how you have been exposed, how I have exposed you to yourself over and over. And I was like, oh no, I don't want them to know how you chastise me. And sometimes, Central, I would be sitting and I would go back and look, and I was like, who wrote that? And I would just be in, I'm like, who put those words? And I'm like, did the editor change something? Because I don't remember writing that. And as I started, because it's like the book is broken into 2 parts, my early years and then after I moved to Atlanta. And I was like, oh my God, it was so much release, because I didn't realize the pain that I carried from being a little girl with abandonment issues, and how it transcended into every facet of my life. Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely does, because those, some people call them ghosts or whatever it is, but those things, they chase you. They don't go anywhere. My dad always said to me, you take yourself wherever you go. And you take all of your trash, you are literally dragging that trash can behind you wherever you go, your relationships with your loved ones, on your job, in your church, when you go to the grocery store, the way you react to the person in front of you, you are dragging that stuff with you. But I will share with you, I love the title of your book, Exposed, because we have got to stop walking around acting like we've not been through some things, right? Now, I am not saying that I walk around with a big banner on me that here's my story, but God, if you need me to share my story, that is fine, because it is a facilitator of freedom for somebody else. Your book, Exposed, is going to facilitate freedom for somebody else. So we got to stop acting like we've not been through stuff. That's what gets us in trouble. That's what keeps us from being vulnerable. Stop acting like everything is okay when it's not. I am not saying go back and be victim, because we don't have to be. I am not a victim of my past at all. And would I go back and change anything? No, because it has brought me to this place. We are not victims of that. It is time for us to walk in the victory that He implanted in us from the beginning of time. And Exposed, I think you got something coming up, right? About Exposed, huh? Something good.
I do on Friday. So Freedom Friday, we are having the pre-launch. So I'm excited about that. And the first 100 people, of course, get their book autographed, and they get a little something special. So, it's going to be a great time. I thought, again, you talked about control. I thought the book we were supposed to do pre-launch August 1st, but God said no, August 7th. I said, okay, Lord, your way, your will. And even in that, being vulnerable, being exposed, because I still, at some point, I struggled with it. I was trying to do it on my own. And every time He had to slap my hand and expose me and say, this is not going to be your way. This is going to be my way. I'm going to be in all of this. And if it's not me, then it won't be. And I said, you know what, Lord, I surrender. And I am so sorry. Humbly, I surrender. The only thing I want, because He didn't tell me, Katrina, you're going to be an Amazon bestseller. You're going to be a this. He didn't tell me any of that. So as it relates to the initial pre-launch, the book will just be available on my website. It'll come straight from there, because it's not about all of these accolades and all of that. It's about the person,
yes,
the people, whose hand that book needs to come in contact with, so they can see no matter what your beginnings were like, you can make it. No matter what trials, adversities come up, as my friend Avril said, and when we're thinking of track meets, we can go over the hurdle, we could go around, we can go under. We got to figure out a way
Yes.
to make it happen. And we got to push ourselves. And sometimes we'll have, some angels that'll come, and some
Yes.
people that'll be pushed in our lives that's going to help us. And sometimes we just going to have to do it with just us and him and that still quiet voice. But we're going to be able to do it. So, Santrell, I definitely thank you, and I appreciate you for
Oh, it's a
on,
pleasure.
your testimony, your story, your kind and encouraging words always minister to me. So I'm so grateful for the relationship that we have. Would you like
Yes.
to share any closing words as we wrap up this morning?
First I want to say I'm so excited for you because God is going to make that book do what it needs to do, right? When you're with him, forget about conventional because he is unconventional. You don't have to follow behind what the world says, the way you have to check every box. It's got to be this way and that way only. He is your God and he will make it go wherever it needs to go. He will get it into whatever hand it needs to get into. But thank you so much, Katrina. And I just want to encourage everybody that it is not too late. He is a God who loves you. It is not too late. Have those truthful conversations with him, and he will take you to a place that you never imagined that you will get to. I am 51 and I am freer than I have ever been before. If he did it for me, if he did it for you, he will do it for anybody else. God bless you guys.
All right, guys, we will see you on Freedom Friday. Again, that was my friend Santrell Green. And Santrell, you said you're developing a course
Yes.
for your life coaching and your branding. And so how and when, or will you come back once you get everything developed so that we can share it? Because there are a lot of people who need
Yes.
that.
Yes, and to your point, thank you, Katrina, for asking me about that. I am feverishly editing right now. It is a course that I used to teach in corporate, and so now my goal is to be able to help people. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, whether you're working in the church, whether you're working in corporate, whatever it is, whether you are an entrepreneur. It is about branding because your brand is a promise of you, and I want to help you be able to refine that because a lot of times our brand, it has to do with the trash can, right? What we're bringing to each other. And in that, we're going to talk about purpose. And so the launch date, I'm looking at September because we are going into the final quarter of the year. And I want you to be able to end this year with a bang, to know that it is not too late. So yes, I will come back when it's ready. It will be a Zoom course because I want to be able to see you and interact with you. And we're going to have a good time, but no, you're going to be coming face to face with yourself.
I love it, and I'm so grateful. I see somebody, it's actually Yolanda. She says, Santrell, you are glowing, looking beautiful, and
Thank you.
God, I love it. I love it. Yes, we love you guys. You have a fantastic Wednesday, and remember to share the message and go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, the Freedom by Design Movement, and tell all of your friends that they want to tune in on Friday. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.